Spokane police right now are actively looking for a suspect. Much of the fire acreage that has burned still has smoke spots and fire spots still remaining. Snow slush still on the roads. The Idaho State Police Crime Lab team and forensics team have been in and out of the crime scene. If you get a little hungry, you can actually grab a panini. And my order is coming out right now. Tomorrow morning, the Thor Street Bridge is going from 3 lanes to 1. They've been going in and out of that apartment building right behind me. Lawson through Russell is closed in both directions. You can see that huge plume of smoke behind me. There's actually a helicopter trying to drop a bucket of water right now. And they'll have access to this huge gym. Just within the past 10 minutes, Spokane Fire Department and this tow truck just came to take away that pickup truck that crashed into this home. The majority of neighbors I spoke to want to remain anonymous due to fear of retaliation. That's saying they tell me it's not everybody who shoots at Boggs Pit that's the problem. It's the few that do so irresponsibly that threaten their public safety.
Back in the day, it was comforting almost to hear gunshots back to people practicing and stuff, but over the last 5 years, it's gotten out of control.
Gunshots, now the alarm to be on high alert.
That bullet, not only did it almost kill my husband, it also almost killed one of the neighbors. They were shooting over here because the Boggs Pit was overcrowded. So they decided to do their target shooting over here.
Overcrowding, trash, lead bullets being left to deteriorate. Bullets hitting their cars and homes have left neighbors fed up.
At some point, you have to take a stand and say, enough.
It's an issue that's even gone beyond bullets.
Blowing up tannerite, for example, shooting off tracers, shooting over the ridge line, shooting while people are standing at the top of the ridge.
This man, who didn't want to go on camera, says it's not about the Second Amendment.
That the people that live up here, we're all pro-Second Amendment people. You know, this isn't about taking anybody's Second Amendment rights away. It's about a land use issue. Patrick Killian is relieved that Boggs Pit is closing down.
It's up to us, you know, out here and to try and make a stand and say, hey, you know, lives are at risk, you know. It's just that simple.
In Deer Park, Rania Kaur, 4 News Now. The town of Lind has a long road to recovery ahead. Some today are trying to piece together what's left. Others are trying to provide support however they can.
Yeah, I've just been here so many times, so I kind of know where everything would be at.
Walking through ashes, 16-year-old Nick is looking for whatever is left of his grandparents' home.
Me and my cousins would always come up here and we'd have sleepovers, and it'd always be a good time.
A few cake pans, some dishware.
This house meant a lot to us. Lots of good memories here.
And an American flag waving among the burned wheatland.
Through everything, this is all that's left standing is the flag that's been up for as long as I could remember. It's pretty tough.
It's hard for Cheryl Hawsey too, which is why she stayed through the flames. Hawsey's downtown turned into a rest stop for the volunteer firefighters and for those that lost their homes.
We have 20 guys, and they all showed up. So if they can show up, I got a hold of Kevin and said, "Do you need food?" He said, "Please," and I said, "That's it, we're doing it."
Today, Hawsey's is open too.
We were going to be open for whatever, because people are devastated, they're sad, they're challenged and need people to talk to. So where else do you go? You go to the local pub.
Making sure no one goes hungry.
We can be mad at each other because everybody knows everybody really well, but when there's something wrong, we put all that aside. We can do that next week. So we just get together and do what has to be done.
In Lind tonight, I'm Rania Kaur, 4 News Now. Butler was originally sentenced to life in prison without parole. Larry Haskell prosecuted that case back in 2009. A recent change in Washington's 3 strikes law put Butler back in front of a judge for a new sentence just today.
When they gave me a life sentence, it was just at the time, because I was exactly who they said I was.
The change in Washington's 3 strikes law for Thomas Butler meant a chance.
I hoped that one day I would get an opportunity to prove that I'm not the man I was when I was convicted of this crime. And before that, And so it was everything, because I know I'm not that person.
Butler is black and claimed Haskell and his office discriminated against him during the first trial and would do the same in this resentencing. His defense attorney pointed to racist comments Haskell's wife made online, saying Haskell's filing practices themselves were discriminatory and echoed his wife's statements. They filed a motion to dismiss Haskell and his office from the resentencing.
There are concerns in the community about his office's ability to be fair. And I can't shy away from that or shirk my duty here.
During the motion hearing, prosecutor Preston McCollum argued against the claims of racism.
That the prosecutor's office doesn't pick crime victims, no more than we pick criminal defendants.
The judge ultimately denied the motion, leaving Haskell and his office to prosecute the resentencing.
There's no connection between Mr. Haskell and the discrimination, Mr. Haskell and his decisions today versus what was done in 2009. There's been no evidence to make that connection.
Haskell asked the judge to resentence Butler to 62 years. The defense argued for 25. Ultimately, the judge sent Butler back to prison for 30 years. The defense says it will appeal the ruling on the motion to Washington State Supreme Court. In studio tonight, I'm Rania Kaur, 4 News Now. The defense now has months to build a case. They'll argue in the preliminary hearing that there's not enough evidence for this case to go to trial. Part of building that case is filing a request for discovery, which the defense filed Tuesday. It requires the prosecution and law enforcement to share all the information they have on this case.
Are you waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing and agreeing that that hearing can be held outside the 14-day period?
Yes.
5 months. That's how long Brian Koberger's attorneys have to study the evidence in this case.
It may not be in your best interest to rush to that trial.
Spokane attorney Bevan Maxey has stood as the defense attorney for many high-profile cases. He says the defense's request for discovery will give them key pieces of evidence.
To see who's being identified as witnesses.
That could include the victim's roommates or people who know Koberger. It will also give the defense access to the knife sheath found at the crime scene.
It's going to be very, very elaborate. And that's why you're seeing all these requests.
Evidence Koberger's attorney will use to convince a judge there's no need for a trial.
So the obligation is not just to turn over the bad things, but also to turn over those things that could be looked at as being positive on behalf of the defendant.
On the other side, the prosecution already had enough evidence to arrest and charge Koberger. That was outlined in the affidavit of probable cause. But they won't stop there.
And so I'm sure they are continuing to follow up and hope that maybe other evidence or other people come out of the woodwork to strengthen their case.
Again, Koberger's next court appearance will be on June 26th for his preliminary hearing. In studio tonight, I'm Rania Kaur, 4 News Now.